when the AI systems can either semi-autonomously or just by helping us a lot really discover new science. And if the rate of scientific progress that humanity makes increases by a factor of 10 or 100 or 1,000 in a year, that somehow feels different than just a bunch more remote employees. If you look at the prediction from maybe 10 years ago, maybe even 5, I think most experts would have said, first AI comes for physical labor. It's going to drive trucks, it's going to work in factories. Then it comes from the sort of easier parts of cognitive labor. Then it comes from the stuff that's really hard. Maybe it can be, maybe it can write computer code someday, maybe not. And then maybe someday in the distant future, but probably never, it can do creative work. And of course, it's gone the exact opposite direction. Almost everybody predicted this wrong. But the fact that it can do this sort of creativity and the fact that it can use code to verify things actually gives me hope that we may have an AI that can do science before we have that factory robot that we can do everything else.
And what else is out there? Like, what else are experiences that children go through, which would be amazing to expose to these models to make them more human-like?
So I do think coding is pretty special. Coding has some nice structure to it. You can run the code, like an AI agent can run the code and look at the output and sort of say, this is right, this is wrong. There's like debugging messages along the way. There are a lot of things about coding that I think are a particularly great modality to train these models on. But that won't be, of course, the last thing we train on. I'm very excited to see what happens when we can really do video. Yeah. There's a lot of video content in the world. There's a lot of things that are, I think, much easier to learn with video than text. There's a huge debate in the field about whether a language model can get all the way to AGI. Can you represent everything that you need to know in language? Is language sufficient, or do you have to have video? I personally think it's a dumb question because it probably is possible, but the fastest way to get there, the easiest way to get there will be to have these other representations like video in these models as well. Again, like text is not the best for everything, even if it's capable of representing everything. Fundamentally, these models are just sort of like bits of data in, bits of data out, and it turns out you can represent a lot that way. But we should still try to figure out the best representations.